Okay, let's continue on. We were talking about detailing the specifics of how to make a trade. All right. And it would be good to try to refresh ourselves on this idea. So if you need to review this in any way you can, by Googling it as a question, how does one make a trade? um, what is spread? What is bid price? What is ask price? That sort of thing. Because it would be decent here and the right place to provide a little bit of explanation of the mechanics of how this process is actually carried out by someone, either by the broker or by you. It's all going to be involving um, lot numbers, bid price, ask price, last price, market price, that sort of thing, and the types of sales. So right here, it would be important to talk about the long buy and the short buy. The long meaning you buy low and you sell high. The short sale or short, well, the short technique is that you decide that a stock is going to fall, and right at the top where it still seems to be rising, you borrow somebody's stock. You just tell your broker, hey, it's not as simple as this, but this is essentially what's happening. Give me 500 shares. Could I borrow them? I'll give the shares back to you at a certain time in the future. Maybe in a day or maybe in a month, but let me have them for a while. So you basically rent them, and you have to pay 10%, 15% for the duration that you have them, well, for a certain time period. But so you borrow the stock, and then right away you sell it, and you get a lot of money for it because people want it. It's at the top, it's rising, right? So you sell it at a high price. But now you don't have the stock, you have money. And then, if you're correct, the stock falls. The price of the shares fall because it's disclosed that the company is going bankrupt. That would really make it fall. So it goes down, and right down at the bottom, you buy some shares with the money you have that you got from selling the shares up at the top. You spend some of that money, buy some shares, then you give those shares back to the broker. Say, thank you, I'm returning the stock that I borrowed, and you keep the difference of the money. So you might need to explain that, and we have a video that I've given you to help you talk about that. Here, somewhere in the definition of stock, and what is it, how to do it, the definition of stock should be up here too. You can talk about how it's really fueled by perception, by the image of the company's success. I'm talking about the movements of the stock graphs. It's also, of course, fueled by good news. But if you can spin the news, or if you can give a lot of news, it doesn't even necessarily have to be good. If it just could be sort of convincing people that are watching your press release as a company. You're giving out these press releases and this information, and you're making the news, and you're that sort of thing. If people somehow get the idea that you're a decent company, or you've got potential, your stock's going to go up. So the image of your product and of your company's potential for success is all of a sudden very important to a company, almost as important, if not the same as, or equal, or more than, the actual quality of the product and the value per dollar that's built into the product itself. Okay. All right, so that's happening here. Now, once you get this done, you move on, and you don't have to call this section, you don't have to call it options, but that reminds me, there's a whole nother side of stocks called options, and that we are not going to even look at. It's very much it's its own little monster. And up here, when we say why stocks, we can say, well, look, because of the scope of the paper, we're not going to look at bonds, we're not going to look at options, but all of it is somewhat connected. And if we learn about stocks, we're also learning a little bit about how bonds are traded, how options are traded. Okay, so we'll talk about that. We'll come back and add that after we get some to the paper here. So funnel, we're focusing on stocks. Why are we choosing stocks among others? This is our focus group, middle class. Why that? Okay, now let's just define what is stocks. Let's just spend some time talking about that. Let's spend some time talking about how to trade them. So the what are they, the essence, the mechanics of the thing. And now we're down over here saying, okay, now you understand that. You can see that logically you have a couple paths you can go. Either you're going to do the stock trading yourself, you do it, or someone else does it, okay? Or you and someone else do it. So you follow the advice of someone and that sort of thing. Now, I'm going to do something here, okay? And we're going to have to kind of couch this carefully when it comes to writing it on the paper, writing it into your paper. But the thing about this, you plus someone else, there is so much good information on the web right now that's basically free. Or for a minimal price, you can get all these articles and these graphs and this data, historical data. And even if you were to deal with a live person, you can almost always find controverting advice out there. So someone might say, hey, this stock is great. Well, I guarantee you, if you just go online and read, it's going to sound like someone is disagreeing with that. You can find material that says, no, you got to be careful here. So you're always going to find the contrary view. And unless you're very discerning, it's hard to see which one is right. They both look professional. So what I'm going to do here is that if you are actually using someone else, you are probably not getting more from the live voice than what you get online through the data that you can just read or videos that you can watch. So I think that this is a dying option because people are realizing, why do I pay you to talk to me about stocks? They're thinking about their consultant or whatnot. But I can just go online and get help from a number of places. So, and that's free. So basically, this is falling out because people realize, hey, the words I'm actually getting, the advice I'm actually getting from my consultant, I can get it online. So why do I need to go and actually have a human helper? I don't want to present it that simplistic. There probably are some things that a human can help you with, but eventually, if it's your money, this fellow is not going to give you much more than advice, akin to the advice you get. And then you have to ask the question, what do I do with this advice? Follow it or not? And that's the very same question you ask with anything you read as far as advice goes on the net. So I just think that this is falling away. You either do it all by yourself or someone else does it all by you. Now we're going to parse these options out in the next video.